infiltration.
But brother leader, what do you say? Because the buzz term is democracy. Yeah, and most of the anti-Mugabe lobby are calling for free and fair elections. Yeah. If we're talking about African liberation and African self-determination and self-sufficiency, how significant an issue is free and fair elections? Is election the most important thing that should be on the Pan-Africanist agenda at this moment in time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's a complete hoax. This whole thing called elections on the I wish we would get rid of it.
Yeah.
I wish we would get rid of this term democracy from our political lexicon and talk about revolution and liberation and contextualize our revolution and liberation in clear language so that our people can understand the difference. You see, this thing called democracy is a term that Europeans have used as a smokescreen for their own imperialist actions. And it has never served the interests of Africa. These things called elections on the African continent, and nearly every African country, if not every single African country's elections, are manipulated by foreign powers. Very often the parties that win the elections are the parties that with the greatest endowments, and usually these endowments come from foreign countries, Britain, America. They fund the parties that they want to win the elections and throw their weight and expertise behind them and ensure that the parties or the puppet regimes that they want to serve and protect their interests win these so-called elections. Elections on the African continent is really a joke. And the sooner we get rid of them, the better. You know, when Leo Sajafo called for one-party state, Robert Mugabe also called for one-party state. Most most governments that come into power, most revolutionary governments, governments that are driven by revolutionary principles, will vie for one party state.
Okay.
Because when a revolutionary force wins the machinery of government, then you have to protect what you fought for. And you can't do that with elections.
Right.
Elections open up your politics for foreign infiltration.
Okay.
And that's why they've been pushing and drumming elections down our throats, because that's the only way they can make inroads into our political system and influence it in their own interests. Yeah. So it's not in our interest as African people on the African continent to be championing this thing called democracy and elections.
So, but in saying that though, are you supporting tyranny?
Sorry, as an elder once said to me, why? Sorry, Brother Shaka.
Go ahead.
An elder from the motherland, Southern Africa, once said to me, why do we champion this thing called democracy when democracy is stained with the blood of our ancestors? Their democracy is stained with the blood of our freedom fighters. Yes? It is in the name of democracy, for instance, that Kwame Nkrumah was toppled. It was in the name of democracy that Patrice Lumumba was assassinated. So we've got to see how democracy has been used to justify the shedding of blood and the neutralizing of potentially powerful African governments that were there to serve the natural and informed will of African people. Tendai Mwari.